So you've published a few books and now you're trying to figure out how you market them and specifically how you create an author marketing machine that sells your books every single day. That's exactly what we're going to talk about inside this video. And hey, if we haven't met, I'm Lise Cartwright. I am the Book Profits Accelerator head coach for InfoStack, and we do all the things when it comes to marketing your book, specifically around not having to worry about running paid ads. We're all about figuring out different ways that you can get your book in front of the right people at the right time. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can go about creating your own author marketing machine. And there are a few things that you want to ensure you've got in place first before you can really go down this path. So let's talk about what those are. So number one, you need to ensure that you've got some type of freebie that is offered at the very beginning of your book. So if you are a fiction author, you might call this a reader magnet. If you're a nonfiction author, you're probably just going to refer to this as a free gift, a lead magnet, a freebie, whatever it is. But here's how you want to approach creating this freebie. If you are a fiction author, ideally the reader magnet that you're going to provide is going to be a couple of different things. It could be another ebook, but honestly, the people who are reading your content are probably going to hand over their email address a lot faster if you offer something different. Now, where it makes sense to do an ebook as your free thing is if you have a precursor to your entire series. So if you have that and it's a novella, that is a really good option for your free thing. But if you are wanting to do something a little bit different and you don't want to have to go and create a whole other book, then you might like to do something along the lines of think about what you could do to enhance the experience for your reader. So, for example, if you were writing books in kind of the detective space, then maybe you include case files that people can download that goes into all the background around whatever case your specific detective is working on. Maybe you are someone who has built this beautiful fantasy world, and maybe there's fairies and that type of thing. Then you might like to do some type of adult coloring book. Those are just a couple of things off the top of my head. Basically, what you want to do is sit down and think, what could I offer that someone would love to get their hands on that you can digitally send, right? You don't want to have to do anything and that you have to pay for. So you could also do bookmarks that people can print off for themselves. You can do screensavers, anything, but it doesn't always have to be another book. So I wanted to kind of give you that idea. Now, if you're a nonfiction author, on the other hand, you are probably best to create something that is going to support your reader actively reading your book. And what I mean by that is, instead of them just picking up your book and passively reading it, are there some coaching elements or exercises that you can also offer that will help them implement whatever it is that your book is all about? So this is where having some type of downloadable action guide or a workbook would work really, really well. Now, obviously, that's only going to work for some nonfiction books. Other things that you can do are journal prompts if your book is more inspirational. You could also go down the path of an adult coloring book if your book was around mindfulness. If your book is around meditation, you could include a free downloadable audio. At the end of the day, it's very much about thinking through what is it that you want to have happen at the end of the book from a nonfiction author perspective, right? What's the next step? And how can the free thing at the beginning of the book help them get to that path faster? So the first step in creating your author marketing machine is making sure that you're building your email list, right? That's what this whole process is all about, is getting people on your email list so that you don't have to pay to get in front of them. The next step is obviously to make sure that you've got a really good and simple opt-in page, right? The easiest way for someone to get on your email list is to opt in. Now, once you've got your free thing designed and ready to go, you go ahead and you create your opt-in page. Now, your opt-in page is going to have a form on it where someone is going to, at a minimum, put their email address. But I always like to capture people's first names, so I definitely recommend including that. Now, once you've got your opt-in page created, optionally, and if you really do want to automate as much of your marketing as possible, I would recommend doing this next step. So opt-in page, and then next up is the thank you page. Now, there's lots of different things that you can do on this thank you page, and it is largely going to come down to how many books you've got and what it is that you're doing. But you have an opportunity to present more of your books to this person once they land on your thank you page. So when they land on your thank you page, you should say something along the lines of, congratulations, you have just unlocked whatever it is. Check your inbox for next steps, right? Something along those lines. Then the next line is going to say something like, while you're here, I wanted to talk about this next thing, or while you're here, you might like this. And then you're basically going to have a sales page for either the next book in the series, or maybe it's the entire box series, whatever that looks like. Now, this is obviously the digital version, but you could also point them to the paperback versions as well. It's up to you. Now, that works really well for fiction. If you're nonfiction, maybe you have a short workshop or a training that you could present that's around $20 or less. Optimally, it could also be another book in the series as well. Bottom line, when you are sending someone to a thank you page, you have the ability to present them with a paid offer. Don't miss out on that opportunity. Now, this is often referred to as a tripwire. And the reason it's called that is because it's the next thing that's been presented after they've opted in to something. So you decide what that's going to look like, but that is step 2 in setting up your author marketing machine. The next step is to ensure that you have got a really strong welcome sequence in place and you have a nurture and sell framework in place. So in your welcome sequence, you are definitely wanting to make sure that you're welcoming them into your world, right? Letting them know who you are, what you do, all the things, what they can expect. Then the second email is probably going to be something that's a little bit more value-based. Now, if you're fiction, this might be behind the scenes of how you come up with your book ideas, right? You could do something along those lines. It could be another free thing if you have that, whatever. If you're nonfiction, again, same deal. You could do some more free things. You could point to your YouTube channel, to some blog posts, whatever. The third email is where you have the ability to start to prime them for buying something else. Now, if you've done the tripwire, then you might not be able to present more of your books, but you could. Let's assume that they don't pick up whatever your tripwire is on the thank you page, right? So let's say you're presenting your book series in a digital box. If they don't pick it up there, then you have the ability to represent that same offer to them as part of your welcome sequence. And that would happen in the third email. So once you've done that, the next thing is to either drop them into a nurture and sell sequence or transition them to your newsletter. It's entirely up to you. A nurture and sell sequence is simply going to nurture and sell at the same time. And what I mean by that is you're going to nurture, and then the call to action is going to be to buy something else. So to buy your next book, to buy an offer that you have that relates to whatever it is that you talked about inside that email. So it's your decision. You might not be in a position to set that up right now. Otherwise, it's more about making sure that you've got a regular newsletter going out and making sure that in your newsletter, there is a PS that points to your books. Your books should always be front and center and be part of every single email that you send out. And then the fourth step in setting up your author marketing machine is to determine what your ongoing promotions are going to look like. Now, you have lots of different options, but if you aren't intentionally sitting down and planning out your promotions, then how are you going to sell your books? So this could look like doing 48-hour flash sales. It could look like doing a themed promotion around a specific time of year. It could look like doing author collaborations. It could look like doing newsletter swaps. It could look like getting on as many podcasts as possible. Literally anything is possible as long as you are planning it out. And there should be some type of promotion happening every single month. Now, that doesn't mean that you're constantly selling, but there should be an intentional promotion scheduled every month for what it is that you're wanting to sell, which is your books. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you want to talk to us more about the Book Profits Accelerator, you'll see more details below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.